Hi everybody, John Boutet, Buffalo Sports Museum. We're going to do another edition of Inside the Vault, the Buffalo Sports Museum, and today focuses around the Buffalo Sabres. Also, we're going to talk about this gentleman right here, Mr. Paul Whelan. Paul Whelan was the Director of Public Relations for the Buffalo Sabres for a very long time. He went on to be the Director of Communications for the Sabres in his late years with the Sabres. And Paul's become a very good friend of mine. Many of you remember Paul for the Taro Tujimoto drafting in 1974. Also, he was very famous for the April Fool's Day jokes that he would pull on fans and media members in those early days of the 70s and in through the 1980s. Paul ended up giving me, because he was such a good friend of mine, he ended up giving me a very rare piece of Buffalo Sabres memorabilia, and that piece of memorabilia is this pewter mug right here. Now, we'll talk about it in a second, but just to give you the basis around the story today, the Sabres were born in 1970, as most of you already know, but their first training camp was held in Peterborough, Ontario, over the border, over in Canada. And being over in Canada, media members would be invited to go. Not many fans were actually admitted to the first training camp. But getting back to Paul, Paul thought it would be a great idea to award these pewter mugs to certain members of the Sabre organization. First goal, first assist, first penalty, first shutout, things of that nature. And on September 17th, 1970, the Sabres played their first exhibition game as a team. And many of you might remember Billy Inglis. Billy Inglis was a member of the inaugural team in 1970. And Billy Inglis scored the first Sabres goal in team history. The game was against the New York Rangers and ended up in a 4-4 tie. And Billy Inglis became the focus and the answer to a trivia question. Well, Paul Whelan, the astute Director of Communications, Public Relations, thought he would make a pewter mug for Billy in commemoration of his inaugural goal with the Buffalo Sabres. So it's kind of hard to read, but basically what it says is in recognition of becoming the first Sabres goal in team history, they're awarding him this pewter mug. And Paul dated it and presented it to Billy at the next practice. Billy took it home, said, "Thank you very much. I'll put it on my desk." 2 days later, Billy came back and he said to Paul, he says, "Paul, you made a mistake. The pewter mug says September 17th, 1971. So it must have been the engraver's fault." Paul took it back, said, "I'll get you another one made." Had another one made up. And Paul kept this on his desk for 26 seasons with the Buffalo Sabres. Well, Paul donated it to me and gave it to me as a part of Buffalo Sabres history, and I thank him very much for it. So this is the very first gold mug ever awarded to a Buffalo Sabre, and it just so happens to be from Billy Inglis, future coach of the Buffalo Sabres. And so in essence, this is the original one. The one that Billy has, it says 1970, the correct year on it, is not the original one. Thank you, Paul, for this wonderful piece of memorabilia. And thank you for your years of being such a great employee and great member of the Buffalo community. Paul resides in Olean, and he is a director of broadcast and journalism at St. Bonaventure right now. He is doing very well, and we talk to him frequently. He says hi to all the Buffalo fans. And we just thought we'd recognize Paul in this segment. So anyway, that's our edition of Inside the Vault, Buffalo Sports Museum. The original, first ever gold mug presented to Billy Inglis. Hope to see you again. If you have any questions, if you have any recommendations, please send them along, and we'll try to get to those questions and recommendations as soon as we get them. Thanks. Have a great weekend.